my friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Novella, and today I want to talk about a person who is maybe impossible to talk about because we will never really know who she was. I'm talking about Patricia Highsmith. She is a bit of an enigma herself, you know. She's, Tom Ripley, I guess. She was a Texan, a proud Texan, but she hated the state. She loved her mother, who was a bitch. She was scared to be alone, but preferred to be alone. She hated minorities, all sorts of them, with a passion. She was gay, but she hated gays. And she went through several conversion therapies, but to no avail. She had hundreds of bed partners, but nobody sticked around. The people who worked with her all say she was a bitch or a devil. Yet other people who were close to her said that she was really easy to love. Let's say that Patricia Highsmith is a difficult person to grasp, I guess. She was a drunk from her early or late teens. She smoked very heavily. And yet her writing was crisp and very good, very, very good. So it's difficult to know who she really was. She wasn't even 100% honest in her own diaries because she was, in a way, afraid of her own feelings, I guess, her own passions. She was, and still is, an interesting person. Maybe not a person you have to love, but at least respect, because the stories she wrote were amazing, really good. So I've gathered some clips from interviews she gave, and so you can make up your own mind who she really was.
If I'm working on a novel, I like to do 8 pages a day, and almost the same with a short story. Sometimes a short story one can do 10. And I try to take care of the boring things in the morning, and work maybe 4 or 5 hours a day.
When you say the boring things, what do you mean?
Chores like shopping, writing a business letter, or things like that.
Do you write in freehand, or do you type your books?
Always on the typewriter. Yeah.
And where do you begin? Do you begin with the plot of the book, or what?
I think I begin with a certain action. Say there's maybe a kidnapping in the book, or it's not an entire plot, but I have to go then forwards, and then I should say I have to go backwards to what came before, and then forwards in my own thinking. But I mean, if you ask me for the beginning, it would be a stretch of acting, a stretch of action, and also in, for instance, Ripley's Game. It was the train scene that. It's also in the American Friend. It's the same. The film is the same, made from that book. But I took the train from, I think it was the Mozart Express, to Vienna, and they took off the dining car at Strasbourg, which was completely almost up to your knees with dirty napkins at that point, and you could easily have tossed the corpse there. You see, leave the corpse in Strasbourg. So this sort of amused me. But then, in my book, it didn't turn out that way. But it still was the idea of the grabbing some man who's unfortunately in the, what do you call it, the loo. He's almost killed in the loo, you see. And then toss him out of the moving train because the door is right there. So it's a matter of thinking, how am I going to put this into a story? So then the characters came after that.
You seem to be very keen on Ripley as a character. Bruno, possibly, in Strangers on the Train?
Yes, they have a similarity, I think.
Well, is the similarity...
Definitely.
I mean, I've been reading a lot of your books, and I've always read your books and love them. And one of the things that I was trying to work out is, first of all, correct me, are they psychopaths?
Yes, I would call them that.
Now then, I looked
Bruno
that
is
up.
worse.
Right. I looked this up in the dictionary, and all it told me about a psychopath was that they were madly deranged people. That's all it said in the dictionary, right? Is that your definition?
Yes, that's part of it. And I would say they're incurable.
What I wonder is it that you don't admire them, do you?
No, I certainly don't. But I think, well, I hope Ripley is amusing. People seem to, even in America, Ripley's rather popular.
But of course he is a killer.
Yes, but lately he kills only when he thinks it's right. Lately it's the mafia. It won't be in this book, but I admit this first murder was a very cruel one in the first book. He killed a man just out of resentment and also because he envied his money of the other man he killed. I mean, that was a very nasty act.
You said that you're interested in the effect of guilt on your heroes. So does this make the Ripley books the exception? In that there doesn't seem to be...
Well, in a sense, yes, but in a rather opposite sense, that the fact that Ripley doesn't feel enough guilt is also peculiar, to say the least. And that he thinks more about, does his Forsythia need water now, than he does about the fact that he's might have taken somebody's life. You know? So this by itself is sort of odd.
Maybe there's some kind of violence in myself, I don't know. Some people say so.
Do you think there is?
Frankly, no.
No.
I mean, I don't think it's... I don't feel like hitting anybody. I don't even hate anybody. Never did.
Well, why should somebody say you're violent?
I don't know.
But are you obsessional? I mean, because these people are, to my view.
Yes, I am obsessional.
About what sort of things?
Anything.
Do you deliberately isolate yourself?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Do you know why? Is it that
yes,
you don't trust people? Sorry, right.
It's because I wouldn't like a big city because I don't like much social life. I don't like going out to dinner. I don't, well, the cinema, maybe twice a month I really ought to go, which I don't even now. But in a city, one is bound to have more social life, something's doing in the evening, and I don't like that because I still need my evenings. I love my evenings. I like to walk around the house quietly. I like to daydream, and I don't like the level on which one has to talk with somebody else in the house. It's like saying, "Are you hungry?" or something, and I don't want that because I'm not working if I'm like that. But if I'm in the house alone, then everything gets solved.
But are you a sort of person that, well, let's put it this way, doesn't, to say not like people, it can't be true of you because of the way you write about people, but do you not trust people, say?
Oh, I do. I do trust people, yes. And I like people. I have a few friends whom I like very much, and my friendships usually last. They last.
But you've never wanted a family, or you never wanted to be married?
But I think my family life was such a mess, it probably put a stop to that. I mean,
In what way was it a mess? I mean, was it a cruel family?
No, my mother and stepfather were constantly quarreling, and I never knew where I was. I mean, whether there's a divorce brewing, and I had to change schools because my mother would get a whim to move somewhere else in Manhattan, and so that school would throw me back sometimes 6 months, and then there was a big separation when I was 12 years old, another big one when I was 16, another when I was 19, in which case I didn't care anymore. But it's not the sort of thing to give one confidence in marriage, I would say. And I feel reasonably happy. Mm. I think it's pretty stupid to be extremely happy, but I'm happy enough, I think.
I don't know whether you could imagine the scene in my daughter's bedroom after they took her away. Friends and neighbours had to go into the house and clear that bedroom up. The stains and the fingerprints. They had to remove all the furniture, take the carpet up, burn it in the garden, sandpaper the floor underneath to get rid of the marks, buy a new carpet and put it down. No help at all.
What kind of marks?
When people die or are killed, there's leaves marks on carpets and it stains the floor and all the other nasty things that people don't think about. They are left behind. The neighbours had to do that, and they shouldn't have been left to do that on their own. The social services could have provided transport or a skip to take away the soiled things. They had to tear the carpet up and burn it in the garden. What could I have done without their help? Can you imagine what happens to a single parent living in a block of flats that doesn't know the neighbours? We've got people in our group where
I think a lot of people who are, let's say they have a member of the family who's been killed anywhere, I think that after about 5 years they would say, well, what's the use if they do catch him? What's the use if he is killed? There's finally a what's the use attitude.
No, I wouldn't say what's the use of catching. I still, you won't convince me that they're not worth catching. If you can't catch them and identify them, you don't know their motives or what makes them tick or anything else. Yeah, I think.
Well, if it's a psychopath, you don't know the motive, then he
if they're a psychopath, it's imperative that you catch them, isn't
it? But if it's a friend, of course, I suppose the friend of the person who's killed is very much more likely to be caught, for obvious reasons.
I think the biggest deterrent is the thought of being caught, and if you take that away, we might as well give up altogether.
Yes, caught and
no point in it.
You've got a point.
You've got to catch them. If you're going to take that away, we might as well let people go back to the jungle and do what they like.
So this was maybe Patricia Highsmith, or maybe not. We will never know, I guess. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.